All right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Infinite Mindset Book Club. We are recording this meeting this morning. It is streaming live on Facebook. We are recording it via Zoom. So just make sure you hit the prompt to stay into the book club. So today we know is Sunday, March 19th. We're so happy to have each and every one of you here today. We have an amazing host, Miss Gakia Gray, George. So we're so excited to have her hear what she has to say. Ask that everyone participates and be open and honest and transparent. And no, this is a judgment-free zone. So our disclaimer, we ask that you are respectful of the religion, the spirituality, and beliefs of all of our book club members. Speaking of members, we like to say welcome, welcome. If it's your first time here, we consider you a new member, so welcome. As I look through the room, it looks like everyone has been here before, so we thank you for returning. We always ask that you invite, you tag our Instagram, our Facebook, our social media. So right on the screen, you'll find the Infinite Mindset Book Club. That is our Instagram, along with the Infinite Mindset Empire. So the Infinite Mindset Book Club, along with the Infinite Mindset Empire. That's where you'll find us on Instagram, and you'll also find us on Facebook, Infinity Mindset. All right, we ask that you join our WhatsApp group. We have two WhatsApp groups, one for the book club and one which is considered our networking portion of the Infinite Mindset Empire. If you like to join, we ask that you email us at the infinite-mindset-empire@gmail.com. All right.
All right.
Perfect. Angie, take it away.
No problem. Welcome everybody out there in Facebook land and YouTube land, because this book club will be also on YouTube. So we welcome all of our members that's joining us today. So this is actually our last chapter of this amazing book, The Four Agreements. As you can see here, I don't know if you guys can see it, The Four Agreements. Okay. So we're approaching our third year this year, so we're excited about that. And within that, those 3 years, we would have read 17 books. So if you haven't already read these books, please do add them to your library, add them to your bookshelf, your bookcase, whatever your book bag, whatever you want to add them to. But these are some great, powerful books that we have read. And we dissect them and we implement them in our life. We discuss them, the whole nine. So we had a lot of breakthroughs with these books and our book club members. So congratulations to everyone that is a part of this book club for, taking hold of your mindset and changing your experience. Okay. So with that being said, chapter 7, The New Dream, Heaven on Earth. Oh, well, and a little bit of the prayer too, but Heaven on Earth, this will be our last chapter. And no other than Miss Gakia Gray George is going to bring us to the finish line of this powerful book. Gakia has been a great addition to this book club family. She's always supporting everyone here. And just knowing that when she came to this book club, she was, her mindset was, not where it wanted to be, but she actually took hold of her opportunity here at the Infinite Mindset Book Club. And just to see her soar and just, saying like, I'm making this decision to do what I need to do, when I need to do it. And she has support of this book club family. And she, like, I don't even know what to say, because she's been a great addition to my life as well, and a great friend, and just a true beautiful soul. So Gakia, I love you so much, and it's just a beautiful thing just to be around you and just to be a part of your journey, and you adding value to everyone else's journey as well. So thank you for all that you do and all that you're doing, and your growth and your transparency and everything that's above. So thank you so much, sis. So a little bit about Gakia, if you guys didn't know, especially you guys out there in YouTube land and Facebook don't know. All right, so now you gotta know. Today is the know, the know knowledge. She's a licensed New York real estate attorney representing home buyers and sellers. All right, so if you guys are looking to buy or sell real estate, you need a great attorney, you better hit Gakia up, okay? Because she's about that life. All right, she's an entrepreneur and a proud mother of one beautiful daughter. All right, she went to John Jay undergrad and Toro Law School, and she was actually born in Harlem, New York. And but she was raised on that West Coast. She was raised in Seattle. Now, a fun fact that I want everyone to know about Gakia, right? And I'm challenging her because she told me she loves to rap, right? She likes DJ Quick, Too Short, all the West Coast best. So I was just like, yo, I need to see this in the flesh. So I am proposing to all the members here that we should go out to a karaoke. Let's do karaoke night. Let's do a book club karaoke. And let's put Gakia on that stage so she can, live the life that she really want to live and tap into her inner, rap and MC skills and let her rip that mic up. Because I need to see that. I really do. I was tossing and turning last night. Like, I need to see her really rap these songs.
I'll be your hype woman, Gakia. I got you.
Let's do it. So we're gonna plan a karaoke night, and we're just gonna have fun, and we're gonna do it. Everybody's down. Cindy, unmute Cindy.
Absolutely.
Yes. That would be awesome.
Yep, we're down.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes,
Okay.
sorry, I'm at the gym, but I'm listening, but I'm down. I love karaoke, so.
All right. So we're gonna
Okay.
plan that. We'll plan it. All right, cool. So she also loves to do it-yourself projects, and she's a great cook, and her favorite book, such as mine, The Game of Life and How to Play It. So follow her on her social media, excuse me, at Facebook, Gakia Gray, Instagram, Gray George Law, and LinkedIn, Gakia E. Gray, ESQ. All right. And also her website is graygeorge.com. So with all that being said, and, we're about to get into this book and this chapter, I'm going to get myself out the way. And Gakia, the book club is all yours, my dear.
Thank you, Angie. And thank you for everything you do, from the slides to reaching out to making sure everything is perfect every Sunday. I appreciate you. Thank you for your kind words. A little bit about me and how I started with the book club. I think I started with the second book. I used to follow, or I still follow, Crystal on social media. It was during COVID, and my in-person book club had come to an end. And so I reached out and was like, can I join your book club? And she was like, of course. And it's been history ever since. These books have changed my mindset immensely. And it's just an honor and a privilege to be amongst all of you and to talk about these books. So thank you for that. So let's get into it. The last chapter is chapter 7. It was short, but it was profound. And I have 5 points that I want to make from this chapter. But before we even get into those 5 points, I want you to think about a question that I'm going to ask at the end. And this is for the overall book. And I want you to think about what your answer is going to be. And the question is, out of all 4 agreements, which one is the most challenging for you? Why? And what are you going to do about it? Okay, so starting with chapter 7, The New Dream, Heaven on Earth, he's basically telling us that Ruiz is basically saying to forget everything that we've learned in our entire lives. And this is the beginning of our new understanding. He's basically telling us that we have the power to create heaven on earth, and we no longer have to live in hell. We can change it at any time, and it's up to us, right? So I'm going to read from page 125, which hits on 4 of my topics that I'm going to touch on as we go backwards, okay? So starting on page 125, he's saying, and I'm paraphrasing, that imagine that we have the permission to be happy and to really enjoy our lives. He goes on talking about imagine living your life without fear of expressing your dreams. and not afraid to ask for what you want and to let people know what you need. Imagine not being in fear of being judged by anybody. How would you live your life differently? And the fact that you are no longer responsible for anyone's opinions and you have no need to control anyone. I repeat, no need to control anyone. That's a sticking point for myself. And no one controls you either. Imagine living your life without judging others, easily forgiving, and letting go of any judgment that you have. You don't have the need to be right, and no one needs to be wrong. You respect everyone, and you get respect in return. These are things that he's saying that if you follow these steps, you can create your own reality. And imagine what your life would be like if you could follow these things. You could create your own heaven. You can imagine a place where you're not struggling, where you're not second guessing yourself. So I want to go back to the first point where he says, imagine that you have permission to be happy. And my question is, why do we need permission to be happy? Happiness is a choice, right? And if it's a choice, why do we need permission? And who are we seeking this permission from? I'll start with myself. I feel like there's been times in my life where things were going so great and I was so happy that I was nervous and I'm waiting for something wrong to happen or the next shoe to drop. And I couldn't relish in the moment of that happiness and ruined it because of my own thought process, right? Why do we do that? Why is that something that, was it something we were taught? Is it just something that we just don't have a lot of examples of happiness? You know, why is it, and who are we seeking? Who is giving us permission to be happy? Is it ourselves? Is it because I think that a while back, I had went to this yoga thing and posted happiness was a choice. And this was years ago that I posted this. And I don't even know if I was saying it in the same terms as Ruiz is using in this book. But for me, it was, I chose to go to this event. I was invited. I invited my sister. It was such a great day. And we chose to be in that moment. And for me, it was a very happy day. And so I wrote, happiness is a choice. But for you, who are you seeking permission from to be happy? And are you choosing on a daily basis to be happy, or are you kind of stuck where you are? Does anybody want to?
I'll start. Oh, Angie put her hand up, but I'll start. So go ahead, Angie.
You breaking all the rules. I'm gonna have to put a disclaimer that raise your hand if you have an answer to the question.
I thought you only had to raise your hand if you weren't on screen.
That was never know. Y'all making up rules as y'all go. But go ahead, Crystal. Go ahead. Beautiful ladies first.
Thanks, Ange.
You're welcome.
All right. So just repeat the question. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Oh, you're on mute, Gakia. Mm-hmm.
Why are we asking for permission to be happy? And who are we asking that permission of?
Yeah, I personally don't think it's natural to just wake up and be happy. You know, we allow external things to affect us. Like, so, you know, it's unnatural to wake up and maybe get on your knees and pray. It's unnatural to get up and take a second, 10 minutes and meditate and say, you know what, or set an intention for the day. That's unnatural. When we talk about domestication, is like you set your alarm, you get up, you go, and then, you know, you get in the car and then someone flips you a finger or something, and that ruins the rest of your day. I use that example because when I got to work the other day, one of my paralegals, she's like, oh man, she was like, I don't know how I'm gonna get through this day. I'm like, what happened? And she said that, she was driving and someone had, flipped her the finger, and it was just, this terrible situation. And that's kind of like how in her mind, her day started. But your day started as soon as you got out of bed and you said to yourself, all right, today is going to be a good day. So then it doesn't matter what happens the rest of the day. You're good. You're going to have a great day. You're going to be happy. You're choosing happiness, as Gakia said when she went to her event. So it's not natural. It's not something we're taught. It's something we're learning. It's something I know I'm personally learning every day, because some days it's very difficult to just get out of bed, and I get out of bed last minute and I go about my day, and then I'm wondering why at the end of the day I'm so exhausted and drained and upset, and I'm thinking about the day and like, man, I could have done better. I'm gonna do better tomorrow. We were talking about that, Sabine, this morning, and saying, every day, every week, we're like, tomorrow's gonna be a better day. Tomorrow's gonna be, I'm gonna do better. So it's just a practice. And again, it's not something we're learned. It's something that, or something that we're taught. It's something that we have to learn and practice on a daily basis. So that's kind of my answer to it.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for sharing. Krista.
Give it
Go
back.
ahead, go ahead, Cam.
Oh, I thought you was for real gonna go.
No, go ahead. You know they say save the best for last.
All right. I was just gonna say, like, I think it's a little different from happiness and joy. So I'd question like how you define happiness. Because when I think of happiness, I definitely think of something very much short term. The emotions that we go through are all states. So they're just a period of time, a small period of time in our lives. And each emotion is, just as important as the others. And you should be able to feel all different kinds of emotions, because that's just part of the experience of life. But I would say that I tend to get upset at things in the day, and I'm like, dang, I just wish I could be like happy. I don't know why I keep saying that, but like that will happen. And then I just got to remember like to say joy instead of happiness, because if I'm constantly wishing to feel one emotion all day, like that's not even realistic. So thinking of just joy and being in the moment is something that I would rather say. But besides that, you definitely could choose to have joy and to experience joy and just be present and accept everything that happens in your life, and accept that it's not necessarily negative. Like it might seem like a negative, like somebody flicking you off in the morning, but it doesn't have to be. And just I would say joy is just being present. And if I were to choose joy or happiness, I definitely choose joy. So yeah.
Thanks for sharing that, Cam. Joyful Cam. Go ahead, Marge.
Hello, everyone. So, to kind of play a little devil's advocate to Crystal, or what Crystal said, I don't know if I agree that it's unnatural to be happy. I think we're naturally happy people. I think it's learned to be unhappy. I think we've learned to that things are hard, or things are difficult, or, oh, I got to go to work. And I think the prime example of that is children. When you see little children and they get up every day, they're just excited about the world, excited, and we teach them like, oh, you got to sit down. Oh, you too loud. Oh, you got to be quiet, which shapes their personalities and shapes what they think about the world. Because, oh, I'm at home, my mom says, oh, if I go to someone's house, I got to sit in the corner, sit where I'm told and not move, right? So it shows me that our natural state is to be happy, but we've learned, right, through our cultures and how we were raised, that that life is difficult, and we have to prepare our minds for how difficult it is. And, oh, I got to go to work, and you need to find a job that that you could stay at for 40 years, and then they you retire and they have a retirement party for you, type of thing. Very rarely do people are raised in a household where they can be free spirited and be who they are from birth, right? Which is happy. So that's my thought about that. I'm sure I have more, but I'll stay right here.
That was more than enough. It goes back to that domestication as one of the, I think, what was that, the first agreement, the domestication? So, yeah, I get it. We all been a victim of domestication, and we're constantly domesticating. When you have younger people like children, nieces, nephews. So that's another chapter. But go ahead, Sabini.
Yeah, great points, everyone. I think what Crystal was saying is that through domestication, we have become, it has become difficult, right? Like, so you feel that struggle because of the fact that we've been told that we can't just, be happy, or through things like life got to be hard, you got to do what you got to do. And it's almost like a either or. So I think that's why we're like, oh, I can't be happy because I got to go to work, right? Like it's either I'm happy or I am productive, right? But we've learned, I guess for me, I've learned that it's a choice. I didn't know that happiness was a choice. I thought it was something that I had to wait to arrive, something that was gonna come if I did all the right things, but I didn't know that heaven is now, that joy is available. And I think, through this self-work that we're doing, we've learned that it's available now. So we can choose to have it. And so to answer your question, Jakia, I think it's because people don't know. That's why we don't choose to be happy, because we didn't know. And so now it's going to take some work to actively navigate towards that. And we have to unlearn some things. So, like what Crystal was saying, you have to unlearn and get yourself above it so that you can actually tap into it. That's my take.
Go ahead, Cam.
Yeah, I just wanted to also add that I think also when it comes to being happy, sometimes you want to feel happy and like enjoy that moment. And and when you ask for permission, you're also like not also just asking yourself, but others, like, can I be happy about this? Because maybe you're thinking about being happy at their expense, or just like, I don't know, it just feels like a set of rules of like when you can be happy, when you can't be happy, and like who can be happy at that moment, right? Like, are you the only one who is able to be happy at that moment, or does everybody else have to be happy as well? So I think that's another thing to think of. Like, I can think of right now, like just me being in a moment at some point, and then just asking someone, hey, can I like be happy about this? And they're like, yeah, sure. Why are you asking me? Like, I can totally see that happening. Like someone literally asking permission to be happy about a certain thing, because you just feel like there's certain rules to it. And, you really do have to ask permission. It's also the thing of, just lastly, sometimes we feel like we have to be happy about certain things. Like we can only be happy if we did something to get that happiness, like succeed, right? Like when we have goals, that's the only time you can be happy. Or let's just say a kid is happy about something, but they didn't necessarily earn that thing. I can definitely see somebody, an adult, being like, you didn't earn that, you can't be happy about that. I can totally see that happening. And then the kid being like, oh man. And then over time they learn that, oh, I didn't do anything to really like get that happiness, so I can't be happy about it. So I can definitely see all those things playing into when it comes to asking permission about it.
That makes sense. Go ahead, Crystal.
And, Cameron brought up a really good point, because I think how many times, you walk through the day and you're smiling, you're happy, and then you get from an adult, why are you so happy? And it's like, I got up this morning. I made it here. Like, and you can name all these reasons why you would be happy. Like, well, what's the opposite of being happy? I should walk around being sad. Nothing has happen for me to be sad. So it is just wild to think about. It just seems so unnatural that, you know, people can't even understand that you're smiling because, you know, you're not at a comedy show. Like, you know, you should be happy. You wake up, you smile, you happy. Like I got up this morning. So Cam, you really raised a good point, and that's something we all definitely have to work on now, including myself.
Including yourself, baby. But I think when we ask, your happiness may not be the same as my happiness, you know, and I think sometimes when you have to ask permission, so to say, could be someone that could be in a relationship, could be a mother-daughter, mother-son, father-son, whatever relationship. When you're excited about something and they come shoot your dreams down, then you like, what? Like, I'm happy, but they're like, what do you mean? You're not doing it, you know what I'm saying? Or, you know, you can be excited about something, and because you formed a relationship with a significant other or what have you, you share your joy or your happiness with that person, just for them to shoot it down. And then you kind of get confused with your emotions, like, man, like I was so excited, but you know, now this person is saying this, and you trying to look for that validation in order to, you know, say, listen, well, this is making me happy, but that person, like, well, it's not making me happy because maybe they're, and that we go back to the assuming, you know, oh, it's going to take time away from us, or you're going to be better than I am, or you're going to move forward and forget about me, like type of stuff like that. So I think sometimes it depends on your situation when you have to ask for permission to be happy. You know, I'm sure we all have been around someone that say, oh, shoot, I'm doing this, I'm so excited, but don't tell so-and-so because I don't want them to, you know, come raining on my parade or this or that, or let me go forward and do it. That's making me happy. And then I'll tell them and then see where it goes from there. So when you have that type of situation, you should really consider, or you have to think about really your happiness, because really you are the person to give you give yourself permission to be happy, and you also give yourself permission to let someone take your happiness away from you. So when you get to the mindset of not giving your power away, which is your happiness as well, your energy, your happiness, if you choose to give somebody that power over you, then you're going to constantly be asking for permission for those things to happen. And that's what it all boils down to. So the old saying, or this new saying, whatever you want to say, you don't have to die to experience heaven. You can create your heaven here on earth. And this is what this chapter is about. Thank you, Angie, the one and only.
Thank you, guys. I like what Cam said about the permission part, and like, oh, can I be happy about this? If the other person, like marriage is such a big thing, right? Oh, you know, if you're not married at a certain age, which I never felt that way, but a lot of women do. Men too, I guess, if you're not married by a certain age, you shouldn't, you know, oh, you may not invite that person because they may be, you know, and I feel like in my 40s, I've gotten to a place where it's like, I'm inviting everybody. And if you're happy, come. If it makes you unhappy, don't come. But it is a tightrope sometimes. And for somebody to question, why are you so happy today? Versus if you're down and you got a scowl on your face and they're just like, oh, that's just regular old Gakia, that's a problem, you know? And I feel like we should be celebrating happiness and joy and whatever it looks like for us on a daily basis, and trying to one up the next day. But moving on to the next paragraph on page 125, he's talking about imagining living your life without fear of expressing your dreams, which kind of ties in with the happy part. You know what you want and what you don't want and when you want it. You are free to change your life the way you really want to. And you are not afraid to ask for what you need, to say yes or no to anything or anyone. That paragraph resonated with me because the part that says, not afraid to ask for what I need, I still struggle with asking people for help. I will give you every template, every resume, anything somebody asks for, I'll give it to them and I'm happy to help with it. But when it comes time for me to have to ask for something, I'm trying to find 1,000,001 ways to figure it out on my own before I have to reach out to someone. And I know that there's people around to help me. I know that there's people that don't mind helping or enjoy helping the way I enjoy helping, but I still struggle with it. I don't know if it's I just don't want to bother them. I don't know if it's a pride thing, but it's something that I still struggle with, that I'm trying to get past and get over that hump, and not be afraid. I don't know if anybody else struggles with that as well, or if you want to comment on that.
I raised my hand. Go ahead, Angie. So yeah, I have that challenge as well. I love to help people. And what I'm working on is stop trying to always say yes, yes, yes to things. But I think, and this is just my own opinion, like I guess the more you give and you're constantly giving, then sometimes you are considered like a strong person, to where, you're so used to it and people see you in that light that they don't tend to always check on you as far as what you need. So I think it's a little prideful as well, because you don't, like you said, you don't want to be like, oh, I'm like drowning here, but I have all this support around me, but I don't want to bother that person, or let me just figure it out. And, until my head almost underneath the sink, I'm sinking in sand and then I can't, really breathe, that type of thing. But yeah, I have that challenge as well, where, I constantly give myself my energy to people I choose to, but not to say I'm doing it just because, but I do it out of love. But then when it's my turn, I really don't voice that I need help, depending on what it is, so that's a constant work. I've gotten better, but it is a constant work that I'm working on. Go ahead, Cam.
I just wanted to say, when it comes to me, I'd say for the most part, it's because I don't know. Sometimes I feel embarrassed to ask for help, or like I'm like scared to ask for help because I guess I don't know how. It's almost like when you ask a stupid question and a person says, "That's a stupid question." Like I feel like every time I ask for I ask somebody for help, I feel like it's almost like a stupid question. Like, can you help me with this? Like, you need help with that kind of thing. And I just don't know how to ask it. So it just makes me nervous. And I guess I get really anxious about it, because I'm like, okay, how do I ask? Okay, how do I make it so it's not like, like such a big deal? Like, how do I, like I'm just thinking about it the whole time, and I always get anxious about it. And yeah, so like I'm the kind of guy who will do everything before I ask somebody. Like I'll like do the most craziest things. And then somebody probably catch me doing something and they'll be like, why are you doing like that? That's so much extra work. Like I'll put so much energy into trying to do it myself and hiding it than actually asking the person to just help me. So that's what I have to go through. I don't really know how to deal with it right now. Yeah.
That's me too. You're not alone. And I'm learning, and Crystal can attest to this because I ask Crystal for everything. And I'm becoming more comfortable, but I still, even before I text her, I'll try to look for something myself. So she ain't gonna be like, she could have found this, because it's a fear. It's a fear of rejection. It's a fear of the person thinking maybe you're not smart enough to do it. There's all these assumptions in the back of your mind, right? So I get it. But on the flip side of that, learning how to say no without excuses. I've been getting a lot better at saying no and not giving an excuse as, but oh no, because my daughter, and which would be the easiest excuse. No, because my daughter has this, or no, because whatever. So a few weeks ago, I had a family member call me, and Angie's right. When you're the strong one in the family, people tend to think you don't need help, you don't need encouragement, you got all the money. And a family member called me and just randomly a family member that I haven't spoken to in years, and was like, can I borrow $2,000 till September? And I listened to their spiel and I heard their reasoning. And I even had them on speaker because in my relationship, I'm the tough one and my husband is usually like the nicer one. So I had them on speaker. So when I was ready to say no, I could get his opinion after I hung up to see if I was too harsh. And I said no. And I didn't say no, maybe next time. I didn't say no because I have to take my child on vacation next week for spring break. I didn't say any of those things. I just said no, like for various reasons. And I didn't feel when I got off the phone remorse. I didn't feel like I had to explain myself. I didn't feel like I had to call my mom and tell her such and such called and asked for money. And I told her no. I just felt empowered. Does anybody have a problem saying no?
No,
No.
no, like no and yes, depends, but no, I
do.
really gotten better at saying no, and I really gotten better at doing what I want to do, what makes me happy, and not, like you said, not caring about, well, I wouldn't say not caring, but not being so remorseful, when I'm what I'm saying no to, I just want to just be definite in my decision making, Go ahead, Cameron. And then Sabine, she turned her camera on, so she was.
I definitely have a problem with saying no as well. Like for me, I'm the type of person who doesn't like to get into a lot of conflict, and I love helping, whenever I can. But it's definitely, I guess you could say, I'm a little pushover-ish. Just because, like, I guess I don't know how to be firm sometimes. Like, I can be, but when it comes to like certain things, I'll just say like yes, maybe, or I'm not sure, or I'll say no in like a weird way. Like, for example, there was I just started doing life insurance with New York Life, and so I'm still like in the works with everything. And like a Google kind of company called me, and they were basically asking to like put me on like, like the front page or whatever. So when somebody like types in life insurance, they'll see like my name there. And so they're calling me, and I'm like I'm not necessarily ready for all of that. So when they called me, I was just like, just listening on until they were done. And they were like, yeah, so can we get like a appointment so we can call you another day? And I was like, yeah, sure. Just call me like Wednesday. And they kept calling me every single day until Wednesday. And they're like, okay, so is now a good time? I'm like, yeah, no. You guys can just call me on Wednesday, instead of me just saying like, I don't want you to call me at all. Like, not even on Wednesday. Like, stop calling me. It was super annoying. And it just felt like every single person who called was trying to sell to me what they had, because at the end they mentioned that it costs like $300 a month. And I was just like, I don't have that money. But on Wednesday, when he finally called, it was a very nice guy on the phone. He was pretty cool. And so, I didn't really mind saying no to him because he was just so nice. I didn't necessarily feel too bad if I said no to him. Like, sometimes when it's annoying people, I don't know how to say no to them. It's just like, I don't want to yell at them or something. So I just be like, okay, yeah, whatever,
It was that.
In your defense, those people are trained to get you to say yes. They know what script to use. They know how to get you. Go ahead,
I'm not
Janae.
looking to add any accounts right now, but thank you. Have a great day. Go ahead, Janae.
Yes, Cameron, they are trained to get you to say yes. As a salesperson, I am trained to get you to say yes. Absolutely. And let's come up with these bills around here, Cameron, when you say yes. But in any event, I don't think I have any problem saying no. And as we're all talking about it, and I'm thinking like most people do, I think, right? Like most people, and they have an excuse. So not only saying, so I'll talk about no and saying and giving excuses for even an apology, right? Two things that I discovered. So I think I don't have a reason for saying no, is because my family had never had a reason, I never had excuses for saying no. And I remember my mother telling me a story about My grandmother and grandfather came up to New York from the South, right? My mother's parents. My dad's parents was from the Caribbean. My mother's family came up from the South. And for years, they lived in like a 2-bedroom apartment. And every time my grandmother's family would migrate, or anyone would migrate from the South, they stay with family. But what would happen is that the kids would always have to give up their bedroom, right? And they were already sharing a bedroom, like 4 kids. And one day my grandfather said, I don't know, something, I forgot what happened. Or like the kids were sleeping on the floor and he came in and something happened. And he said, he turned to my grandmother and said, no more. The answer is no. The next time, like, I'm not going to have my children inconvenience their whole lives and sleeping on the floor. Like, I work for them to have a decent bed. And I'm no longer going to sacrifice them. Sleeping on the floor, I know people want to come up, but this can't be the sacrifice. And that other people now have to take on the like those who came up before now have to take on the responsibility. We can't be the ones. So the answer now is no. And I remember her sharing that with me a long time ago. So I guess that's when they began to take back their lives, right? And it wasn't the Bible to say no to things anymore, or people, or And I can tell you that my grandparents were both some of the most giving people. When they passed away, each one of them, we heard stories we had never known about their generosity in community. Like, I never even heard of, was never even aware how they saved people's lives, how they lent them money, paid off their bills, did a ton of stuff. Independently, nobody knew about this stuff, right? Taught them to drive, all kinds of crazy, insane stories. But they were the most giving, but they understood how to say no. So I think that's probably why I'm like, okay, no, like, I don't really see the excuses. My mother's really good at saying no too. As a kid, she told me, nope, not happening, right? It's just not happening. So, and the other thing that I've discovered, what I learned in therapy, was not to give excuses and apology. When you're apologetic for something, it should be okay to just apologize and move on. Not have to give excuses when you're like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I X, Y, and Z, whatever their reasoning is, but not have to belabor the conversation around that. And I lost a friend who, because she wanted me to belabor the conversation around being apologetic. But my therapist told me, you don't got to belabor it. Are you remissive of it? Are you sorry about it? I genuinely, I said, yes, it's okay to apologize, but don't belabor it. Move on past it. Don't give excuses for it, right? Say what it is and get on with it. So that's another thing that I began to think about later on, and people don't know how to receive either. Thank you, guys.
Sabine.
Thank you. Great points, Janae. So for me, I had this people pleasing thing that was really, really heavy. And I feel like it came from, like, when I was younger, my mom would always say, like, oh, that's not nice, or I don't like that, or something like that, to, whatever it is, like, raising me. And I feel like I internalized that as I have to be nice, right? And I also have to do what people like, right? And so because of that, I would just say yes to things, even if I didn't want to do things. I would just say yes all the time, until I just kind of ran myself into the ground, right? Just not having enough capacity to do everything, or saying yes to so many things that I'm like failing at so many things, because it's like you just can't keep up with it. And so one, through coaching, I used to be a coach for a while, and she said no is a complete sentence, right? So no, period. And so that's okay. And then 2, I believe it came through this book club. I don't know if it was Jermaine who said it first, or one of the books, but it was, if you're saying yes to something, what else are you saying no to? Right. So if you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else, because you only have but so much time. And so I realized, like, I need to focus on the things that I'm committed to. So I'm committed to, my family. I'm committed to my business. I'm committed to my well-being, my spirituality. So once all of those buckets are filled, then I can say yes to something else. you know? And so now I'm at peace when I say no, because I know this no means I get to say yes to the things that I'm committed to, and then I'm okay with it. But it's definitely been a long journey.
Yeah, it's still, I feel like when you have a child too, saying no cannot be a complete sentence with them, because I don't want to be like my mom and be like, no, because I said no. And they'll say, why? So
Yeah, that's 100% true.
I'm explaining why. You know, you can't have a piece of chocolate because you already had a piece of chocolate and your stomach's gonna hurt. But it's different. It's like I shouldn't have to treat adults the way I treat my 5-year-old, right? I shouldn't have to explain to you why I'm saying no. It should be a complete sentence and you should be done with it. Thank you, guys. Moving on to my third point. Imagine living your life without fear of being judged by others. You no longer rule your behavior according to what others may think about you, and you are no longer responsible for anyone's opinion. You have no need to control anyone, and no one controls you either. In my 20s, I was a very, very controlling. I thought if I didn't plan it, do it, attend it, write it, it just wasn't going to be done well. I had a fear of working in groups. I didn't want to and I'm one of 6 kids. I didn't want my sisters to help with anything that had anything to do with family events. I was very controlling. I mean, to the point where if I couldn't take control over it, I didn't want to be involved. And then I realized, it was exhausting. And because people just assumed that I would take the lead, and I was always the one having to do things even that I didn't want to do. And B, that I really had no control over anything. It was just something in me that felt like I'm important if I'm the one that's in control of it for some reason. And once I started to let go of that, and even in my intimate relationships, trying to control boyfriends, telling them what to wear, like it was crazy. Once I let go of that issue within me, and I think it stemmed from my life being out of control. And so in order for nobody to be able to see how out of control I was in my 20s, it was easier for me to just tell everybody else what to do with my bullet points and my list and everything else, right? But I'm definitely past that, and I'm glad that I'm past it now that I have a child, because it gives her the space for the growth that she needs, and for me not to put past everything on her and try to mold her into what I think she should be instead of her figuring out what she should be. I don't know if anybody has a comment for that. Go ahead, Cam.
I definitely can relate when it comes to like taking the lead in things and controlling things. I haven't been in a lot of group projects lately. The only thing I can remember right now is like, in school, when I was still in school, and we would have group projects, and then they would just choose me because like maybe I had an idea or whatnot, or they were just like lost. And I'm like, I just gotta do everything around here, kind of thing. And, that still happens every once in a while, especially in fields where I feel like I'm pretty knowledgeable in, like photography or videography. If there's not somebody who's a little bit better, or like better than me, or knows more than me, I'll definitely be the one to like take the lead and say like what to do and whatnot. And I don't know, it's definitely kind of like I don't know what's the word. I'm thinking of narcissism, but it's not necessarily narcissism. But yeah, like definitely just feeling like I just kind of like know everything, and it's just like I always feel like I have to be the one to do it because nobody else knows what the heck they're doing. And I feel like that pretty often. I'm just like, bro, why are you doing this like that? Like, that's not how you do it. Like, let me do this. Like, cause if I don't do it, it's not gonna go right. and I don't got time to be seeing the mess if I don't like put in some work into this. And so that's just how it usually ends up. So yeah, I can definitely relate.
It's true. And you come across as a crazy narcissist. We went on vacation with my sister for her 50th birthday, and we went to a Japanese restaurant, and they were just taking forever to order. And I just took over and was like, no, this is what we're going to order. And as I was doing it, I could hear myself. And I was like, what is wrong with you? And I ended up ordering way too much food, things that people didn't even like. And it's like, why do you feel like you need to control every situation? Let it go. And my sisters are looking at me like, typical Gakia fashion. And I was just like, damn, I'm sorry, guys. Like, I'm working on it. I'm going to do better. But it is something, in process.
I think that's the beauty, Gakia, that we're not perfect, right? We're all a work in progress. And I echo what you and Cam said about being controlling, because I definitely was that person as well. And as long as you realizing it and you're pinpointing it, you could do a little bit better next time. So we're on the right path.
Thank you. The fourth point Ruiz makes is, you can easily forgive others, let go of any judgments that you have. You don't need to be right. And the other person doesn't, you don't need to make anybody else wrong. Respect yourself, everyone else, and they'll respect you in return. I think that's big with people when they get into arguments. They want to be right. It doesn't even matter what the subject is anymore. It's just about being right sometimes. I don't struggle too much with the making other people wrong, but I know that some people do struggle with that. And me and Janae, I think Janae had mentioned last week, we are working on a closing together, and the attorney for the seller called me, for the buyer, called me just like yelling at me like, oh, you did this wrong, and he's like yelling. And I had to get my bearings together, A, because I didn't even know who he was at first. And B, what he was saying was something that he did. And I said to him, hi, this is Gakia Gray. Like, you put that in the contract. Like, why are you yelling at me? And, I said, let me tell you something. Let me do a little bit of research and I'll email you, because I'm not giving you another opportunity to yell at me, right? And I feel like the old me probably would have been more aggressive, more combative. But I just knew where it was going. And I think I had the space from reading these books and from changing my mindset to be like, this is a you problem, right? This is something that you're dealing with. And once I realized, when I went back to the PDF and saw like he wasn't even the one that made the edits, so your paralegal probably messed up and all of that, it just made a lot more sense. And I'm just glad that I didn't succumb to, getting abrasive or combative or whatever, and moved on from it. And we'll close soon and everything will be fine.
Beautiful thing, isn't it? Go ahead, Cam.
One thing that I've definitely kind of learned and changed is my mindset on how to interact with other human beings. Just mostly from like lectures and stuff that I've watched, and some from books like How to Make Friends and Influence People. That's definitely one of them. It just like kind of opened my mind to the fact that we're all human, and like me reading a book to like better myself, like somebody else is probably reading a book to better themselves or watching a video or some sort to better themselves. And, it's just like, we're all going through the thing of life and, all experiencing something of the sort. And most of the time it's very similar. And I also seen like a lot of lectures on like Masterclass, one of my favorite platforms, because oh my gosh, there's so many good things you can learn on there. I watched Esther Perel. She is like a therapist almost, and she talks a lot about communication. And she talks to like couples and stuff about how they communicate with each other. And there's also another masterclass that I watched by Chris Voss, and he like works for the FBI. He does like the negotiation talks, like when somebody is holding somebody hostage, he'll be the one to like talk to them. And I watched both of those courses, and I learned so much about, having a lot of empathy, and I have a lot of emotional intelligence, and I'm very empathetic. And so when I watch those, I realized that we definitely have to be kinder with each other, and definitely just have to understand that we should be collaborating more than arguing. So when it's like when you're telling somebody that they're wrong, or you're telling somebody that you're right, instead it should be collaborating on the subject, the topic at hand. So let's just say I think something and you guys think another thing. Like for one example, me and my ex were talking about what's that thing in the Princess of the Frog, that thing with the powder on it? Freaking forgot what it was called, but I had one name for it and she had another name for it. And I was like, I don't think that's the name for it. And we're kind of going back and forth, and she got really pissed off at me, and she was like, oh my gosh, like I hate when you do this, like you're always trying to say that you're right. And I was just like, no, I'm just trying to communicate to you what's in my head. I'm trying to show you.
You guys were arguing over beignets?
Yeah, we were. So I'm like trying to tell her the picture in my head of what it looks like, and my memory of what it is. And I'm like, I've never heard that before to describe beignets, so I think that's a different kind of pastry. She's like, no, your thing is wrong and my thing is right, and we're just going back and forth. And I'm just like, dude, that's not what I'm trying to communicate. I'm not trying to tell you that you're wrong. I'm just trying to tell you that I'm pretty sure this is what it is. It's almost like having a conversation about a word in a dictionary. The word in the dictionary is the word in the dictionary. Whatever you guys are combating about is just like, so that's how I see it. It should be more like just communicating and whatnot. You can go to the same thing with like the 9 and the 6. When it's like, you ever seen the picture and they arguing back and forth? It should be more of a collaboration of what you guys see and what you guys know, and put that together. And so that's what I've learned from watching those courses, and it really has changed my mindset on how to interact with other people. So yeah.
When you get time, Cameron, can you put those links with the master classes in the WhatsApp group?
Yeah, sure.
All right, perfect. And I'm sure both of you never looked at Disney the same after that. All right, Sabini. What happened to Sabini?
Okay, sorry, my phone wouldn't let me unmute. Cam said so many good things. I like half forgot what I was gonna say, but I wanted to say that with your example, Gakia, I love how you didn't get pulled into that person's drama. And I think that's kind of what Cam was saying, how, having empathy and realizing like, that ain't about me. Your anger right there, it has nothing to do with me. That's your own situation, and you're acting out in this manner. And so that's what I love about this evolution, is that we're awake, right? So we could see what's going on with people beyond what the actual communication is. We could see a little bit deeper than that. And that helps you, because that could have ruined your day, like Crystal was saying with her coworker. That could ruin your day when you're like, oh, this person yelled at me. I used to internalize that because I've had my fair share of nasty attorneys on the other side. And I used to internalize, the things that they were saying, or feeling like it was my fault, or feeling like I was inadequate. But now I'm able to see like, no, that's you and your drama. That has nothing to do with me, but we can get to the bottom of the issue. So I love that you were able to do that. It's a great example.
Thank you. Janae?
By the way, Gakia, if you had just gave him a couple of choice words, I wouldn't have been mad at you.
Did you see the commitment letter?
I did not. Okay, nope.
Well, it appraised for the number is right.
I know, that's what we do. Gakia, we got it right. I was never worried. And I want to thank you guys for that. I worry little to none anymore about stuff, right? Things that are just stuff. And I owe a lot of that to this family right here. So thank you for that. But I wanted to back up because I couldn't get to my phone earlier. And I'm not sure the question you spoke to regarding judgment. Can you repeat that?
Judgment, let me say.
Oh, was this one or the one before?
The one about not judging others.
Yeah, what was the question?
So he was saying, imagine living your life without judging others and being easily to forgive. Letting go of any judgments you have. Don't make people wrong. That was the last thing we were just talking about, not trying to be right and make someone else be wrong.
Right. So
The other one was the fear of not being judged yourself by others.
Right. So
And the need for control.
Thank you. When you just talked about judgment, the first thing that came to my mind was the concept of social media, right? And it's just a pure world of judgment. Like it's based on judgment. The entire concept of IG, Facebook, even LinkedIn, regardless of it's professional judgment. Like it's all to me based on judgment. The first thing I thought about was, oh, so I don't have to be concerned about what I post on IG anymore, right? Like, and also from a professional standpoint, I always feel like no matter what I do on the internet, I'm going to be judged, right? Like no matter what, especially as a professional. And it comes with so much layering because that judgment could ruin my career and therefore, impact my entire life. Someone's judgment of me, or like even the thought process of cancel culture, right? It's people inflicting their judgment on something or someone, and that has huge impacts, right? So I was like, that would be so freeing if I didn't have to worry about what people thought and I didn't have to think about what they thought. Right. And now think like how much my people that I work with to do my social media, I have so much content because I love the like filming the content and doing stuff that I don't even put it out. I mean, tons of content, like showings and information that I'm overthinking it all the time because of I'm like, because it's judgment. The concept of judgment has me so much overthinking it that it's something I don't even desire to do, right? It's one of those things that doesn't make me happy. And I made a decision years ago, like, not to wear shoes that are too tight, clothes that are too tight and make me uncomfortable, and work with people or do anything that makes me unhappy, right? So this makes me unhappy. So I've kind of almost put it into that bucket where I don't do that because of the concept of judgment. Yeah, and it just came to my head. So I just want to just put that out there.
Thank you, Janae. Cam?
That totally just reminded me, Janae, what you just said about like, so I basically around like freshman year high school, I started a YouTube channel, and I really wanted to like take off with this YouTube channel. And I've always been a filmmaker, so I used to make films on my DS and like make these little short films and stuff, and then I'd have it play on the TV so my dad could watch, my stepmom could watch. And so I always wanted to like make movies and stuff. So I thought if I started a YouTube channel, that'd be my first stepping stone to being a filmmaker. And I just remember like just picking up the camera and making all different kinds of videos, making videos with my siblings, like Nerf videos and all this little kind of stuff. And I just remember just like being in the moment, and whatever came to mind, I would do. And I didn't have any judgment towards it. I didn't really have like an expectation. It was just, do and see what happens. And after a while, just going through high school, it just kind of dawned on me that, people could possibly judge me for what I'm doing. Like, for me, my little bubble of what the world is a little bit different. Like everyone else is not content creator or, makes videos like I do. So I know for sure that almost half my school has seen what my room looks like, but I have no clue what any of my, like the people that I went to school with, what their room looks like, because I always recorded in my room. And like, I just remember at a certain point around COVID where I just didn't want to make videos anymore because I had this expectation of how I wanted my videos to turn out. And if it didn't come out like that, I would add extra judgment of what other people would think of it. And, just like the whole thing with social media and like being a professional, that's another thing. Like I still want to pursue that content creating and whatnot. And I watch my old videos and I get like inspired by my old self. And, I'm also a professional in a way. So like, I can't just, put any kind of videos on, my platforms. I have two accounts. I have a photography account and like my main account. And on that is just like regular, pictures that I take of myself, like, high quality professional pictures that I take of myself. And those are the only things on there. But I do want to have skits where I do jokes and whatnot. But it's that whole thing of, am I going to be judged? And like, what can I put on there that's, not something that's unprofessional? So if another, another person sees it who's, looking at me in a professional sense, like, what are they going to think about me? And so, like that, it kind of just like reminded me of how I'm really struggling with that. And yeah, it's definitely have taken a toll on me. And I'm not really sure how to go about it, but yeah, hopefully I can fix it, because I'm starting my acting career. So I want to put some monologues and skits on there so that people can like see it. So when I, like request and audition, people can see a little bit of my talent before I actually audition for their thing. But it's definitely something I go through.
Marjorie and Sabrina going to tell you how to go about it. Go ahead, Marjorie.
I am. I don't know about that. I wanted to go back to the being right. Always being. I think that's one of the areas that I've definitely am focusing on growing in, because that's what I struggle with. Wanting to be right, and when I am right, or it's proven that I was right. And as I put a quote that my coach said to me one time, he said, is it better to be right, or is it better to be true? True to yourself and true to what you know, because that speaks for itself. And that was like a moment for me, because I realized wanting to be right is very egoic, right? It's always pointing back to you, that you're perfect, that you're this and you're that, until you're the one that's in the wrong. Then it's like, But what I'm learning to do is, when I'm proven to be right, is to be supportive and to be empathetic to whoever it is that was shown to be, in the wrong, quote unquote, I guess. And like a more recent situation is where, I just had a sense about someone and their character, and I didn't feel that they should have, they should partake in a project and that we were doing. And long story short, it's proven that I was right, and egoic part of me initially wanted to be like, see, I told y'all, but I didn't. And so, and I supported the group in saying, okay, so it's a learning thing for us. What can we do? What can we do next time so that, we're kind of like vetting someone, or we're, figuring out whether someone is aligned with our mission. And that was huge for me, because a part of me was like, I done told y'all don't listen. I'm this, I'm that, I'm intuitive, but what does it serve? I realize it doesn't serve anyone or anything, but alienates me from others, right? And it shows me to be merciless, and so, but the first thing I would want is mercy if I'm proven to be wrong about something, right? So I got to give out a lot of it. So that's something, that I'm constantly working on with myself, is being true and knowing true. And I didn't need, and honestly, people remember that I said that, and they remembered, but it was just like, I realized that feeling of being right. It was like, okay, as I'm working on it, but I would have gloated a few years ago. I would have completely gloated, but it serves no purpose. It serves nothing.
Thank you. Sabine?
Yeah, my comment was wanted to respond to Cam's comments. So Cam, you were saying that if you do it, you feel like people are going to judge you, or you want to know if they're going to judge you. So the answer is they're absolutely going to judge you, but they're going to judge you either way, right? So you really have nothing to lose. You're going to be judged if you don't do it. You'll be judged if you do it. But the difference is if you do it, you'll be walking in your purpose. You'll be fulfilled and you'll be validated, because once you're in your purpose and the things that you're supposed to be doing, you can't do it wrong. So don't worry about the opinions of others or what, people are going to think or what have you. It's what are you going to think and how are you going to feel if you actually accomplish it?
Amen.
Yeah.
Okay, for the sake of time.
I'm sorry. I just want to add for what Marjorie was saying about, like, when you know that you're right about something and you want to prove that point, because when I know I'm right about something, like as far as like just knowing from like research or what have you, and the person is like, no, it's not that, but you know deep in your heart like that is not true. And then when they like, oh, you were right. And they like, I told you, I don't know why you don't listen to me. So I get that, because I'm laughing because I just did that last night with my sister about a song. And I told her, she started singing the song or rapping the song. I said, that's not the word. She's like, yes, it is. I said, no, it's not. I said, look it up right now. And then she got silent. She's like, you were right. I said, I don't know why you don't be listening to me. I know all the lyrics to all the songs. So it was funny. So she said she heard somebody else say those lyrics. That's why she's saying it. I said, well, you should have listened to me. So, okay, that's all I want to say. Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
So my fifth point, but I want to get to the question that I asked you guys in the beginning, and I know we're running out of time. Back to having this heaven on earth, Ruiz is saying that it's us that's not making it possible because we're still holding on to that parasite, and it's attached to the judgment and the victim, right? And that suffering makes you feel safe because you know it so well. And I feel like that is such a powerful statement and such a real and true statement for me personally, but I think for a lot of people as well, that it may not even be suffering, but it could be something like thinking the worst. So if medium happens, it wasn't the worst, right? Like, setting yourself up like, oh, if this fails, then what if type of situation. And why do we do that? Why are we comfortable with the hurts and the things that have happened to us in the past that keep us in that kind of cocoon of being like the suffering? It's what we know, it's what we're familiar with. We stay there instead of evolving into this happier heaven-like place. I'm going to move on to the question that I asked. And the reason why this question came up for me is because I was thinking how I would have received this book if I would have read it in my 20s. And would it have prevented a bunch of missteps? Would I even have taken it in the way I'm taking it in my 40s? And so the question was, out of all the 4 agreements, which one is the most challenging for you? Is it impeccable with your word? Don't take anything personal? Don't make assumptions? Or is it always doing your best, right? For me, I think that being impeccable with my word is what I struggle with. I think that when this new year came around, I don't really make resolutions, but one of the things that I said I was going to really focus on doing differently was the way I speak to myself and the way that I judge myself when I haven't fulfilled what I think I needed to fulfill. And a lot of what helps with that is trying my best, right? So they kind of go hand in hand. If I felt like I gave my best effort, then I can't beat myself up too much, right? But I also feel like I don't give my best effort in every aspect of my life, right? When it comes to my family, my kids, and my business, yes, I'm giving my best effort. But sometimes things that are also important to me, like being healthy, working out at least 3 times a week, I'm not giving my best effort. So then I beat myself up at the end of the week and dwell in that place because it didn't happen and say, I'm going to do better tomorrow, or I'm going to do better. And the way I speak to myself, I probably would never, if my girlfriend called me and was like, oh, I didn't work out 3 times this way, I'm like, girl, just work out next week, you'll be fine. But the way I speak to myself when I don't do it or accomplish whatever it is that I feel like I should have accomplished is a little more harsh. And so that is an ongoing thing that I need to work on. What I'm doing about it is being more aware of it when it starts in my head, to cut it off and either go do whatever it is that I'm mad that I didn't do, or make a plan to do it the next day. What about you guys?
That was powerful, Gakia. I think for me, I think I can pull something out of each of those agreements that could be better. Maybe the main one will probably don't make assumptions. You know, I think that's more easier for everyone to do, is making assumptions about things that's really not there, really not true to an aspect, but making assumptions. But, you know, being impeccable with your words, don't take things personally. I think I kind of got that one down pretty good. Like I really improved on not taking things personally. Because I've learned to adapt that it has nothing to do with me, with what you're going through, you know, and then taking accountability for the part that I play in certain things. And then on the end of at the end of the day, we have to break old agreements. We're constantly breaking old agreements that we made with ourselves, from our younger self to our now self to even our future self, you know? So, and this is why I said this book is really powerful. This is not a one-time read, because you can really get a lot out of it just by going back and reading those 4 agreements, even up to the prayer at the end. So yeah, so for me, it would just, I could say there are challenges in all 4 agreements, because you still have to unlearn certain things to kind of mesh in all the agreements together, just to make one and live in bliss, heaven on earth. That's it for me. Y'all still want me to keep talking? So yeah.
No, if no one else has anything to say, I'm going to give my book drop.
Yes, please do. Oh, Janae, come in with the clutch.
Go ahead, Janae.
Thanks, Marjorie.
I would say keeping my word, right, to myself. Because to me, that encompasses all of the other agreements, right? Because if you can make those part of the words that you say to yourself and learn to keep those, I just think that's the first and kind of overshadowing of all the rest, in my opinion. Thank you.
When you say keeping your words to yourself, promises that you're making to yourself, you're saying to keep your word, or to other people?
Both.
Okay.
Both, yeah. Right? If I say I'm not going to take things personally,
Right.
right? That's almost like an affirmation you got to tell yourself every day.
Right.
Like in that position with the gentleman that you have with the attorney, like,
Right.
you got to remind yourself, I don't need to take this personally, right?
Right.
Most importantly, because how it impacts you, how you take that personally. Like Crystal shared about her paralegal coming in all stressed out because she took something personally, right? If you start out your date with like, I don't take things personally, this is something I'm keeping to myself, this is the agreement I'm making with myself, right?
Right.
I just think those, if you, and that and other things can just solve a whole lot of your other issues if you just work on that. Because at the end of the day, it's all about keeping what's true to yourself, right? I'm going to do this with my family. That's what you get, even though it's with your family, but it's the word you give it to yourself, right? It's what you're saying.
Agreed. Go ahead, Cam.
I just want to say that I agree. Because being impeccable with your word is mine. And it's because my motto is don't take it personal. And it's because of all the things that I've learned so far in life, especially from all the things that I said before, like the master classes and whatnot. All those things that I, learn and pile up onto each other, those changed my mindset. And honestly, when I read the book, because I had some of those things that I learned, I was like, oh, I do this already. I can definitely keep doing this. But it is a thing that you have to keep doing every day, because it's like a fall off, If you don't do it tomorrow, it doesn't mean you got to keep doing it. And so that's why being impeccable with my word would have to be the one that I definitely have to work on the most, so that I can still do, have all those other ones as well, and I can make my heaven on earth.
Thank you guys all for sharing. So there's a prayer at the end of the book, and he's talking about different prayers of love and things of that nature. But the one that stood out to me was on page 138, and I'm just going to read that, those two paragraphs. He says, "Thank you, creator of the universe, for the gift of life you have given me. Thank you for giving me everything that I ever truly needed. Thank you for the opportunity to experience this beautiful body, this wonderful mind. Thank you for living inside me with all your love, with your pure and boundless spirit, with your warm and radiant light. Thank you for using my words, for using my eyes, for using my heart to share your love wherever I go. I love you just the way you are. And because I am your creation, I love myself just the way I am. Help me to keep the love and the peace in my heart, and to make that love a new way of life, that I may live and love the rest of my life. Amen." Thank you guys. Thanks for having me.
You did a phenomenal job, and that was a great way to close out this book with that prayer by Don Ruiz, right? Don Miguel Ruiz. We just thank you for writing this book for all of us to really, live by and agree to, the 4 agreements. Gakia, thank you again for taking the time out to host this session of our book club. This was definitely your chapter. And I love the way how you shared the story of how you were aware you caught yourself of not really going there with that other lawyer. But, you've been a part of this book club family for a very long time, from the beginning. And just seeing just the growth that you have, and that you're just, radiating just love, and just, I see it, and it's a beautiful thing. But I want to ask you, what book really, started your mind shift? Like, when you read, what book that you read that said, you know what, I need to start taking not just life, but just myself seriously?
What was it? The Power of, I bought this book for everybody. Give me one second.
Oh, she brought it for all of us. I didn't get my copy though.
You had already had it. You were in the book
Oh.
club. The Open Your Mind to Prosperity.
Oh.
This book, like, it, when you grow up in the church and you're taught about faith, right? It's like, okay, you got to have faith. You got to have faith. You got to have faith. But nobody teaches you how to act on it. What does faith mean? Am I just blindly walking, saying this is going to happen for me? Am I dreaming about it? Am I imagining it? This book for me was, it was telling me that with my faith and acting on it and writing down what I want and visualizing it, that it could happen. And from the time that I started with you guys, I speak every now and then, but you probably know the main thing that I was trying to build was my business. And I'm still like with Cam, with social media, I'm not that great at it. If I got to post, I'll post. I got more posts on my personal page than my business page, because I'm still struggling and with the judgment and all that stuff. But just praying and writing down how many clients I want to get a month, how, believing that this is going to happen, and seeing it happen and come to fruition is amazing. And I know that it's because I learned how to use my faith and work towards the goals that I needed to work towards. And all the books have helped me, but this was one of my favorites. I mean, the Game of Life and How to Play It, my mom gave me that book when I was young, and I've read it several times, and that's why it's my favorite book. But this is a close second.
Okay, and that's good to know. And just because, like I said, like I remember you came here and that's what you always express about your business. And I feel at this point now, like you've got it in your way to do what it is that you want to do. You got it in your way of success to, to navigate it where you want it to go. And I see it's paying off, and you're being more confident, and you're getting referrals and this and that, and you're giving out referrals, and and I love to see things like that. Just the growth of the mindset, because just as anyone here that's been in part of this book club, we all came in here thinking one way, and that we all knew it all, until these books kind of like, no, you don't know it. So you need to learn a lot of things. So I'm just happy that we're all able to see you flourish in your passion, and on top of that, being an awesome mother as well, and making time for that. So that's just a beautiful thing. And we just thank you for all that you have given to this book club, and just continue to, live your truth, because that's what it's about. So I just wanted to give you your flowers, and just let you know, like, I really am proud of you, and I see your shine. I see it. It's bright.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, this is our 17th book. You guys should all be proud. Everybody give yourself a round of applause. We did 17 books.
17 books.
Wow. And just think about that number, like 17, 3 years, 17 books. I told somebody we read 17 books. They're like, oh, wow, you guys are not just like reading to get through them. You guys are actually reading them. I said, yeah, we're implementing these books. I said, we don't read it like a whole book and discuss. We go chapter by chapter or 2 chapters at a time. So that's powerful within itself. And that's why we always say, this is not your typical book club where we're going to settle go and say, we're going to read 50 books or 100 books for the year. We don't do that. We don't even make goals of how many books. We choose the book and we go through them. So everyone, I don't want to take up much time, but everyone, please unmute your phones, your cell phones, your laptops, your iPads, and let's give our sister a round of applause for such a great book club session.
Great job, Jakia.
Good job, Gakia.
Thank you.
Good job.
I'm mad both of the other attorneys are in the car. Jakia, go get in your car real quick.
I'm about to, I got a birthday party to get to.
It's 11:45. We tried.
I know, that's why I looked at the time. I said, this one go in here, this one probably go in there. So let me hurry up. Oh, shoot. So anyway, you guys, please make sure that you guys follow Jakia on her social medias, her business page on Instagram, Gray George Law, and LinkedIn, Jakia E. Gray ESQ, and Facebook, Gakia Gray, and her website is Gray George Law. Okay, so again, thank you so much. And with that being said, everybody, hold on. I think I messed that up, didn't I? I did. Next up will be Cameron for the Infinite Mindset. He will be hosting for that. And for How to Win Friends and Influence People. That book, I really have to sit down and see how we're going to break that book down, because the chapters are a little hefty. And they're kind of like, I don't know, it's a little odd the way it reads as far as the chapter is concerned. So what I'll do, since we won't be meeting again till when we meeting again, May the 21st, then I'll probably just put it in the email and probably the WhatsApp group to see who wants to volunteer for those chapters. Okay. All right.
And we got to do the karaoke.
Oh,
Yes.
we're gonna set that karaoke up. So Jakia,
We have a rap battle.
Jakia, you better get ready, because we need to see that, most definitely. Okay. So all right. So with that being said, thanks everyone from Facebook, from YouTube for joining us for this, our last book club session. Please, please, please join us again, May 21st. It's always this. I'm not even gonna go there. You guys can see it, right? May 21st. Part 1, Karen will be hosting fundamental techniques in handling people. So thank you all. Later. Oh, I didn't do that right.